Hey guys, welcome to Private Prosperity Association, a private membership association. We're going to cover the distinction between legal jurisdictions and how our lives are consequently affected. How did we get here? What can be done about it? So let's take this from the top. Constitutional law is the supreme law of the United States. The Constitution establishes jurisdictions, granting powers to both federal and state levels. When a state passes law through their state legislature, it's called a statute. When moving into the private realm, two important jurisdictions to understand are statutory versus common law. Statutory law operates within the constitutionally granted framework to address these details of governance and, more importantly, public policy. Common law used to be the overarching law of the land rather than statutory law. The principle of no victim, no crime is often associated with common law. Common law systems are based on legal precedents and case law rather than statutes alone. The focus is on the existence of a victim and the harm done. Statutory laws don't necessarily have a victim, on the other hand. There's over 90 million victimless statutes on the books in the United States. Regulations are created through statutes because they are a form of public policy. Regulations exist to protect the public. Types of public entities like LLCs and corporations, their legal existence and legal framework for operating are dictated largely by state legislation. Because they engage in contracts with the public, they're subject to the regulations that protect the public. A non statutory entity, on the other hand, is an organization or entity that operates independently of statutory laws and government enacted rules and regulations. This applies to their formation as well as aspects of their operation. These entities are typically formed under common law, contract law, or private agreements rather than being established or defined through legislative templated bylaws or public procedure. We create legal entities because once incorporated, the business or organization is treated as its own legal person, capable of entering contracts, owning property, suing and being sued, and conducting business separately from the individuals who own or manage it. When we incorporate, the commercial interaction between two parties is a form of contract. Commercial interactions between two parties constitute a contract under UCC law if they meet the basic criteria for a contract, which is offer, acceptance, and consideration. You walk into a store, you put items in your cart. This is an implied offer. You walk up to the clerk and the clerk rings them up at the register. This is an implied acceptance. You pay for your goods. This is implied consideration. See, contracts can be explicit, written, or verbal, or implied from the behavior of the parties, and we unknowingly engage in contracts every day. A person is not what you think it is. Legally, we're not talking about our flesh and blood. A person is a type of corporate fiction with a tax obligation. Your social security number is your EIN number for your corporate fiction. Many of these contracts that are legal fiction entered into, like that of citizenship, a birth certificate, or social security, were contracts we never consented to, or we were not of legal age to consent to at the time these contracts went into effect. Ultimately, the contracts are where certain rights have been waived regarding our tax obligation, the rights around autonomy and privacy, and protection from government intervention. Often slandered as sovereign citizens, while yes, many have failed, some people have successfully demonstrated the correction of individual status by terminating contracts and reclaiming a non taxable or a non assessable status. This is something that has been done and it's been settled in court, meaning An agreement was reached between two parties, so the judge did not make a ruling, which means no precedent has been set. And because no precedent is set, it makes it complicated and dangerous for others to try to replicate. So, this is where non statutory entities come into play. Rather than navigate life using your person or corporate fiction, or becoming a lawyer so that we can correct the status of our corporate fiction, we can utilize IRS approved entities that are correctly established in common law jurisdiction and not bound by the same statutory regulation and oversight as the public counterparts. Through the creation of non statutory entities like faith based organizations, private membership associations, and private trusts, we can reclaim the natural right to autonomy and privacy through a proven method established by constitutional law, case law, and legal precedent.